4,500 years ago, on a desert plateau outside modern Cairo, a group of people did something no one had ever done before. They stacked over 2 million blocks of stone, some weighing as much as a small truck, into a mountain so precise, so massive, that it would remain the tallest man-made structure on Earth for the next 3,800 years. No cranes, no wheels for hauling, no iron tools. And yet, the Great Pyramid of Giza stands today, almost perfectly aligned with true north, closer in precision than many buildings constructed with modern GPS technology. So how did they actually do it? Not aliens, not lost magic. People organized, brilliant, and incredibly determined people. Let's find out how. Let's clear up the biggest myth first. The pyramids were not built by slaves dragged in chains. That idea mostly comes from Greek historians writing thousands of years after the fact, and later from Hollywood. Archaeologists excavating a site called the Workers' Village, just south of the pyramids, found something very different. Bakeries, breweries, medical facilities, and bunkhouses for a rotating labor force. Skeletons showed healed broken bones, meaning injured workers were cared for, not discarded. Most researchers now believe the workforce was made up of skilled laborers and farmers, doing rotational service during the Nile's flood season, when their fields were underwater and farming was impossible anyway. It was organized labor likely tied to a kind of national duty, not slavery. Estimates suggest around 10,000 to 20,000 workers at any given time, not the 100,000 Greek writer Herodotus claimed. They ate well, too. Evidence shows daily rations included bread, beer, and enough meat to rival a modern military diet. Building a pyramid, it turns out, ran on logistics as much as muscle. The pyramid needed about 2.3 million blocks, most of them local limestone, cut right from the Giza plateau itself. Workers used copper chisels, stone hammers, and wooden wedges. To split a block free, they'd hammer wedges into natural cracks, and some researchers believe they soaked wooden wedges in water, letting the wood expand to crack the stone apart. But the finer casing stones, the polished white limestone that once made the pyramid gleam like a jewel, came from Tura, across the Nile. And the massive granite blocks used inside the king's chamber, some weighing over 25 tons, were quarried nearly 500 miles south in Aswan. To cut granite, one of the hardest stones on Earth, without iron tools, workers used dolerite hammerstones, some found still lying at the Aswan quarry today, pounding the granite down bit by bit. It was brutally slow work, but Egypt had something more valuable than fast tools: time, and a workforce that returned year after year. Here's a mystery that puzzled historians for centuries. How do you move a 2.5-ton block, let alone a 2.5-ton granite slab, across the desert without wheels? The answer, it turns out, was sand and water. In 2014, physicists at the University of Amsterdam studied an ancient Egyptian tomb painting showing workers dragging a giant statue on a wooden sledge with one man pouring water just in front of it. For years, people assumed this was ceremonial, but the physicists tested it. Wet sand, they found, becomes significantly firmer and reduces friction dramatically compared to dry sand, cutting the dragging force needed by roughly half. So, a team of maybe a few dozen workers, pulling ropes on a wet, compacted sand track, could move enormous stones that would otherwise take twice as many people. For the longest journeys, the Egyptians used the Nile itself. In 2013, archaeologists discovered the Diary of Merer, the oldest known papyrus in the world, written by a mid-level official who literally logged his job hauling limestone by boat from Tura to Giza, detailing trips up a system of canals built specifically to reach the construction site. The Egyptians didn't just build a pyramid, they engineered an entire transportation network to feed it. This is the question that still generates the most debate. Once the stone reached the pyramid, how did they lift it, sometimes hundreds of feet in the air? The leading theory for decades has been ramps. A straight ramp would have needed to be over a mile long to reach the pyramid's peak at a workable slope, probably too impractical. So many Egyptologists now favor a spiral ramp, hugging the outside of the pyramid as it rose, allowing workers to drag blocks up and around. But in 2018, French architect Jean-Pierre Houdin's decades-old theory gained new momentum, after scans of the pyramid revealed something unexpected: a large hidden void above the Grand Gallery, discovered using cosmic ray imaging called muon tomography. Houdin has long argued that an internal spiral ramp, tunneling through the pyramid's core, was used for the upper sections, with the outer ramp used only for the lower third. The debate isn't settled, but it shows something important. We're still discovering new physical evidence inside a monument built 45 centuries ago. Whatever the exact ramp system, the process would have relied on the same principles throughout: wooden sledges, log rollers, wet sand tracks, levers, and enormous teams of coordinated workers pulling in rhythm, probably to the beat of chanting or drums, based on depictions from later Egyptian construction scenes. Here's the part that still leaves engineers stunned. The Great Pyramid's base is leveled to within about 2 centimeters across its entire 1.3-acre footprint. Its 4 sides are oriented to true north with an error of only about 3/60th of a degree. How did they manage that without modern instruments? Most likely, they used the stars. By tracking the rising and setting points of a chosen star and bisecting the angle between them, ancient astronomers could establish true north with remarkable accuracy, a method still admired by modern surveyors. For leveling, evidence suggests they may have used water-filled trenches cut into bedrock, since water naturally finds a level surface, a simple, elegant solution requiring no advanced technology at all, just careful observation, patience, and generations of accumulated skill. The Great Pyramid wasn't built by magic, and it wasn't built by mystery. It was built by tens of thousands of ordinary people: farmers, quarrymen, bakers, boat captains, and engineers organized under a system that fed them, housed them, and gave their labor purpose. It took an estimated 20 years to complete, and when it was finished, it didn't just honor a pharaoh. It proved something about human beings: that with enough patience, cooperation, and ingenuity, there is very little we cannot build.